You know, it's funny. I totally forgot to film a good majority of my experience here in Kansas City, Kansas. But I'm not bothered too much. It'll be a short video, so that's good. I'm not vlogging because I don't like to vlog. I'm just recording an experience coming to Kansas City, Kansas. I didn't record much, I know it. And it's cold here, very much so. And I hope you can hear me because I don't have my wireless microphone on. But I wanted to actually talk about something here for just a little bit. So let me bring you a little bit closer. I think you're perfectly fine. You're not too close. You're just fine right there. I think you can see me. Travel. That's what I wanted to talk about. You know, I've traveled to a few places, just a few. And in my travel, I've learned a lot. In my travel, one of the biggest impact that I have had while traveling is speaking to the everyday people, everyday person, average person, whether they be on the street or whether they be working, wherever they might be, and wherever I go, having a conversation with them actually has really affected me positively. You know, it's allowed me to gain a relationship, insight, skill sets of how to relate to the everyday person, even though I'm not them, but how I can relate to them. I might not be able to speak their language. And to some people, diversity is limited to where you need to learn the language of the person and you need to try their culture traditions if you go to that country. Or I was making the example actually of some that think diversity, cultural diversity, is going down to Africa, for example, and dancing with the children that like to dance, make the quote unquote dance videos and whatnot. That's not even close. That's not even close, man. You know, can you? Are you willing to? Can you go to a group of people, a different ethnicity, a different culture that is far from how you were raised, different morals, different standards, different values, different belief, even different set of thoughts, different ideas, some that even look horrendous, some ideas that a group of people live by that are far from what seems to be right. Even if you don't travel to that country to find that, no matter where you're at, even if you're in the States, in the US, whatever, can you go to a certain community? And are you willing to sit down with those people? Get to learn them. Give them the opportunity to tell you their experience, how they were raised, how they lived, what they have done throughout their lives, what their morals are, what their values are, what their beliefs are, and open up the floor. And can you sit in that room, in that environment, in that one-on-one discussion with a man, a woman, child even? Are you willing to hear? Not just hear, but are you willing to actually be able to listen to them without a rebuttal of negative feedback? You can disagree, and you can have your own firm ideas of how you live in your mind, but can you sit down and actually listen, pay attention? Are you willing to allow them to see that here's a human being that is willing to sit down and treat them like how I would want anybody to treat me? Can you do that? That's something I was thinking about because I personally have had countless of experiences like that. Some people say, yeah, I could do that. That's easy for me. Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad. But the reality is, not everybody can do that. Not everybody can. And sometimes, some people just wish and hope that they can meet a man or a woman, or even a child, that is able to have those character traits, that's able to treat them, have this one on one conversation that I'm having with you and my camera. Hear them out, listen to them, without being negative. But if you can have the understanding that this is how some people were just raised, and do not know any better, perhaps they can learn from you, just because you are listening to them and observing. Did you ever think of that? Maybe I just learned something for myself. Well, that's it. I'm gonna close this out. Peace.